everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah and I'm going to be answering some questions that some of my underclassmen friends have about my first year of college. So I posted on my Instagram story and asked some of my friends to send me any questions that they had about college and just life in general. So the first question is, was it hard to adjust to college life? It was a bit hard at first because I started in the fall semester and I lived in a 4x4 with 3 other random roommates. 2 of them go to the local community college and then the one that was right across the hall from me went to UF. So we had that to talk about. But honestly, the hardest part, in my opinion, about adjusting to UF and college life in general was keeping up with the workload. And I was also expecting my roommates to be my best friends, and we actually really didn't get along. I feel like nobody talks about like the downside of having random roommates. A lot of people do have a good experience, like, oh my god, my roommate's my best friend. Or people that roomed with a random their freshman year are still taking like senior pictures with them 4 years later because they just got along so well. But unfortunately, that was not my experience with random roommates. That was just the hardest part of adjusting to UF, was keeping up with the course load and then also finding new friends because I was expecting my roommates and I to get along just fine, but we didn't. The next question is, what's some financial advice you would give upcoming freshmen? So I lived in an apartment for my first year and I'm going to continue living in an apartment, just a different one for my next few years. And one of the biggest things I would say is make sure that you meal plan. It doesn't have to be the ones that are on campus where you have like the meal swipes. Honestly, I don't even know how it works because I personally didn't do that. I'm a really picky eater, so my family and I just figure that if I am gonna go like out to eat to like Chick-fil-A or like McDonald's or whatever else is on my campus, that would just be better than having to spend like a certain amount on the meal plans that I already might not like just because I am such a picky eater. So I would definitely suggest having a certain amount of money that you spend each week on food, or you can do it like monthly. Like you could do $100 a week or 150 or like 50. It just honestly depends on like your range and what you're already spending. So a dorm is cheaper than an apartment, but then you also have to pay for like your car if you're parking on campus, or if you have a car, just stuff like that. So that is something that I would suggest. I would definitely have a set budget for each week that you spend on like food, going out with friends, anything like that, honestly. And then I would also make sure to factor in with like your rent, whether you're in an apartment or a dorm, whatever. Factor in your utility bill if that's not included, and your car parking, because that was like a hidden fee in a bunch of the apartments that me and my friends were in that we didn't really think about until we were already there. The next question is, what do I buy for my dorm? And this girl specifically starts in the summer semester. So I would say that it's pretty much the same whether you're doing summer semester or starting in the fall for what you want to get. And it also does kind of vary if you're in an apartment or a dorm, because like in an apartment, I personally had my own bathroom, so I didn't have to worry about like shower shoes or shower caddy or anything like that. But just make sure you factor that in. Like, you definitely need towels, the shower caddy, shower shoes, stuff like that. I also personally, in my room right by my desk, I had these like clear file folders that hung on the wall that I used to put my notebooks in. And it did take up space on the wall, but you're not putting anything else on the wall anyway. So I thought that was a good investment, and I am going to use it in my next apartment, and honestly probably in the future when I move out of college, just because they are super sturdy and helpful. And I'm able to fit like binders, composition books, spiral notebooks, anything like that. Also like sheets of paper if I needed extra. I personally also had an electric scooter that like I would charge and then bring that around campus, just because I'm at UF and I do think that the campus is a little bit bigger compared to more like smaller colleges. And I know a lot of people at UF have like the mopeds or the electric scooters or bikes or something like that. So I would suggest getting one of those if you have a larger campus. Or if you're just a super busy person, like I had a bunch of classes that were back to back, so I didn't have time to walk there, so the scooter definitely helped me. But mine folds up, which is really helpful because I'm able to fit it in my car and then take it to and from campus when I go home for like breaks or just the weekend or whatever. So I would suggest looking into one that's foldable if that's something that like would matter to you. Something that I used to find that everyone missed when I used to watch college videos before I came to college, that I quickly learned, is that you need something that's business casual, whether that's a dress or just a nice suit, some shoes. Also make sure you know like how you want to do your hair, if you need like a clip or like whatever you want to do with that. Just make sure you have something that's business casual, just in case you have like an interview coming up or something that you weren't expecting, just because not everyone has the time to go home, and certainly not the money to go out and buy a new suit or outfit just for an interview. I also would suggest bringing like a dress or something for banquets. If you're a guy, you can probably just use the same outfit that you'll use for suits depending on like how formal it is. I brought a dress for like banquets because I had my pre-dental banquets and everything like that, just because I feel like a lot of people don't really think about that, and you certainly don't want to show up with like jeans or shorts or like something like that. I also would not bring a bunch of shoes. You really only need 1 or 2 sneakers, flip-flops, and Crocs, and then like a pair of the dress shoes. I brought like 10 pairs of shoes my first semester. Over winter break, I brought a bunch of them home because I just just didn't use them and they just took up space that I didn't really have in the first place. Also, if you're big on hobbies or creative, I would bring something that you can do in your spare time, because I wouldn't say that there's a lot of downtime in college, but if you're there for breaks or if there's just a weekend that you have nothing planned, it's definitely nice to do something other than just be on your phone or like watch a show or something. I have like canvases, I have Legos, I like to make the ribbon flowers, so I have ribbons, a hot glue gun. I wouldn't bring too much just because you don't really have that much space in your dorm or your apartment, but it is just something to keep in mind. The next question is how many classes I took a semester. I'm just gonna do this based off of credits because there's different classes with different credits, so just saying like, oh, I took 4 classes or 5 classes isn't really helpful in my opinion. So my first semester I took 5 classes and one of them was online, but it totaled up to 15 credits. For my second semester, I started off with 18 credits and then it was too much, so I dropped one of the classes, so then I ended up just doing 15 credits, which was 6 classes, and none of those were online, but 2 of them were labs. And then for this summer semester, I'm doing 4 classes. It's Bio 2 and Bio 2 Lab, our summer C, which is the whole summer. And then I'm doing 1 class summer A and then 1 class summer B, and those are also all in person. The next question is, what are finals like? I now take my finals at the DRC, which is the Disability Resource Center at UF. But for my first semester, I took the exams in person with everyone else. Basically, they're just gonna send out an email or like a Canvas announcement saying your last name and then what room you're gonna be in. You just go, show them your ID, just a Scantron, the sheet with like the questions. Some classes do let you take home the questions, like I know for Calc they let you do that, but Chem didn't let me take them home, Bio didn't let me take them home. At the DRC, I like it personally because I get very distracted during tests. I just had a little room that I took it in with a few other people. We had the dividers with like the folders and everything, and I just had to show them my ID when I checked in, and then there were clocks everywhere. I just thought it was a lot less stressful, and I liked being in a quieter room where there were less people getting up and there weren't a bunch of people running in front of me to go turn in their exam when I was only like on page 2. The fear that I discovered that isn't real is, honestly, nobody is paying attention to you. In college, everyone is really just in their own world. You're trying to make sure that they succeed, pass their classes, secure their internship, everything like that. So if you want to go to the gym, go to the gym. No one is going to care what workouts you do. Even if it's your first time, there are so many people there that can help you. I've asked so many people how to use certain machines and they were so nice. No one judged me, but everyone is just trying to do their best on their own. Focus on you. No one cares what you're up to. The next question I got is specific to my university. So I go to the University of Florida, go Gators, and someone asked, how is Gainesville? There is always something to do if you're looking for something to do. At US specifically, there's Gator Nights, which is a club that hosts events. I want to say it's like every other week. Honestly, I don't know. I follow Instagram, but I've only been to like 1 or 2 events. And they have like theme nights. There's like a game night. There was, I think, a glow in the dark night. There was a Valentine's Day event. There's something to do for every month, at least for that club. There are also a bunch of national parks and like springs that are only, I'd say, like 40 minutes away from campus. There's Ginny Springs. There's the Devil's Den. I still haven't been to either of those, but that's definitely something that I know a lot of people do and post about. I'm also working with animals for my major, so I like to volunteer at the Humane Society. So that's something, I know a lot of people volunteer there, especially like people who want to be vet techs and veterinarians and everything like that. I like doing that just to like pass the time if I'm there on a weekend. The next question is college hard? I would say yes. You do have to manage your time. You have to balance your social life, your grades, your studying, if you have a job, if you're volunteering, if you're doing an internship, everything like that. And you also have to learn how to be a person on your own. I feel like a lot of people, college is the first time that they're actually like living on their own or living with other people. Like, I'm an only child, so this was the first time that I've lived with roommates and people my age that were like way different from me, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't just my friends that I was going over to have a sleepover with. The hardest part of college for me, honestly, was just adjusting to the course load and the workload and how much I had to study. In high school, I definitely did not have to study this much. I honestly don't think I ever really studied unless it was for AP exams. You do have to learn how to manage your time, but there's a bunch of resources to help you with studying. There's tutoring groups, office hours, Smoking Notes, Study Edge. There are so many different opportunities and ways for you to get ahead. And if you're struggling, people are there to help you. They don't want to see you fail. Everybody here wants to see you succeed. Just make sure that you're reaching out for help because you can't feed a closed mouth. The next question is the biggest lesson that I've learned in year 1. And I would say I have 2 major lessons that I learned. I would definitely take the intro level first. So for me, I just jumped right into Chem 1. I took Chem 1 in high school over summer online. I didn't really feel like I learned anything, and that was also like 4 years ago. I didn't know about Intro to Chem until I was already in Chem 1. But when I was struggling and I didn't pass the first 2 exams and there was only 1 more left, I figured I would withdraw, and then I'm gonna take Intro to Chem over summer. Another thing, it's totally okay to withdraw. I would definitely much rather have a withdrawal on my transcript rather than a failed grade or a D or something, because for my school you need a C or higher to get the credit for a class, at least for most of them. I think it's like finance or accounting that you need a B and everything for, but Not for me. Also, C's get degrees, okay? I know everybody that especially wants to go to like a top 20 university or anything like that, that grades are really important to you, and they do still matter if you're trying to go to grad school or med school or dental school, vet school, anything like that, or even just go and get your master's. But if you're not sure really what you want to do and you want to get your bachelor's first and then go into the field, it's definitely more important to get experience, internships, volunteering, research, everything like that. A 3.8 GPA kid with more experience is always going to be picked over the 4.0 with like perfect grades. The next question is advice that I would give to incoming freshmen. Do not pick a university or college just to chase your partner, okay? If it's meant to work out, it will be. I've seen so many people that went to the same college or university as their friend and then they ended up breaking up, and it's not a good look, and I don't want you guys to have any regrets. Please just pick somewhere that is meant for you. People that are truly meant to be with you aren't gonna put you down, or you're not gonna see like failing in your life when you're with them. They should boost you up and only add on to your life. Please get involved. Even if you're coming into your college and you're not entirely sure if you're happy with your major or something, you can totally switch. A lot of people switch their major. I did it back in November and I've stuck with that same major since. So please try to go to clubs, try to go out, like try to join clubs. Okay, you can still go to party, but I just meant like do extracurriculars, involvements, meet new people. Oh, if there's a club meeting that you think you're interested in but you're not sure, you can go, and then if you don't like it, you don't have to continue. There have been so many clubs that I just went to just to see if I liked it, and even if I didn't like it, I'm still happy that I went because I had no regrets afterwards. The next question is the biggest regret from my first year. I would just say trying to take 18 credits for my second semester. I really thought that I could do it. I was taking 7 classes though. It was too hard and it stressed me out. It's not like I wasn't trying. Like I went to all the lectures, all the discussions, didn't miss a homework, didn't miss an assignment, went to office hours, but sometimes too much is just too much, and that's totally okay to admit. I was taking Bio 1 with the lab, Chem 1 with the lab, Intro to Philosophy for my humanities credit, Food and Research Economics, and Sustainable Fisheries, and all of those added to 18 credits. I ended up only dropping Chem 1. I stayed in the lab because I was doing fine in the lab, and I ended up passing with an A, so it's okay. But that was honestly just my biggest regret. I kind of wish that I would have just waited, because now I have a withdrawal on my transcript, which honestly is not the end of the world. Like I said, a lot of people do withdraw. I'm happy that I know now, like sooner rather than later, that 18 credits is too much for me, rather than trying to do 18 credits as like a junior or something. The next question is how I found a real and amazing friend in college, and I've actually been friends with this guy since middle school, so I don't know what he's talking about, but a lot of the friends that I did make were through my clubs this year. So they were through ASDA, DDS, Marine Bio Club, A Reason to Give, and Gators of Tomorrow. A lot of people I just met and we clicked, and we only met because of those like interests. And that's why I'm saying go to clubs that you think you're interested in, go to that event, go do that extracurricular activity. There are just so many ways to get involved and meet people and make friends, so that's one of my suggestions. It's also totally okay to just stay friends with your high school friends. I'm friends with a bunch of people that I met a few years ago, and I'm really happy with them, and it's really nice to have that balance of people when I go to my college town versus when I come home. I still have people that I know and love and trust and I can talk to about anything. And I would just say that it's important to have friends in both places, even if you have more in one place versus another, or if you only have one friend. It's still just nice to have somebody and be involved. Even if you're an introvert, I would say I was definitely an introvert this year. I don't really know what happened. It was kind of just like a switch because I was in an unfamiliar place, but I still met a lot of great people, and you can too. The next question is, what was the hardest change adjusting from high school to college? I would just say not knowing as many people as I did in high school. In high school, I went to that same school all 4 years of high school, and I also went to the middle school that was literally right next door, so a lot of people transferred over or were the same, or we already had mutuals through my middle school. So by the end of my senior year, I knew basically everybody in my grade. I knew a lot of people at my school. And then going to UF with like, I think it's 60K people, I literally knew like maybe 10 people, and they were all from my high school. So I would say that was just a big change, like walking around not knowing people, not being able to say like, oh hi, because I just didn't know who they were. But it all worked out, and now I see a few people and I can wave, and I also reconnected with some people from my high school that I didn't really know before. So it just all works out. Another big adjustment was just the studying. As I said, I didn't really have to study in high school because everything I just understood. Going into college, definitely not the same at all, definitely way harder classes. Professors definitely teach differently in high school. It's also different because a lot of teachers like knew your name or would say hi, or when they did attendance, they didn't have to like call it out. They would just look around and find you. But now like professors have no idea who you are, especially if you're in like a large lecture class like calc or chem or bio. They're just not gonna know you unless you actually make an effort and go to office hours and everything. But I know that some people are shy, so they're not able to do that. So I would say that was also a big adjustment, just not knowing as many people and not feeling as comfortable. I think that it's important to be uncomfortable in order to change as a person. Last question, 100 men versus a gorilla. the gorilla is winning. That is all for some of my college tips. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe for future videos. Thank you.